أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Assalamu alaikum. I can see only just now two of you attending, Dr. Fazal and Ifat. We have a number of people who have registered, but we are not sure whether they decided to come on Saturday or Sunday, because this will be repeated inshallah again tomorrow. But tomorrow we'll just run the recording. This is will be live, so if any questions, we'll also take questions from you. Many of the things that we have covered in the past Umrah webinar, but because this is live, I will very quickly go through them again and take questions if there is there. So some of the things which are important, I feel that which is missed out, because I've been to Hajj a number of times, alhamdulillah, been to Ziyārah a number of times, and also Umrah, but not a lot. But I see that certain things are missed out, especially people are concerned about basic laws, which is good, of course, is required, but the spiritual aspects is missed. There is a spiritual aspect to that. That we've been asked to travel all the way to Madinah, all the way to Makkah, and Ziyārah, all the way to, for example, Najaf and Karbala and Kazmain and Mashhad. It's not only the physical aspect of that, there is something spiritual aspect. So we'll talk about that based on Quranic verse. Some of the things we need for Umrah trip we'll discuss now. Of course, those who go to Umrah, they always also go to Ziyarah, to Madinah. So we'll also discuss about it, because keep in mind that Madinah today is a very simple, Ziyarat, for example, going. Of course, Prophet Zari is there, but besides that, Imams, everything, those who are made in Baki is so pathetic, that you are just made to very quickly go through them and come out. You can't do much now. So there are a lot of restrictions they've done. But if this was not the case, we'll find huge, Muslims there, and so many publications and books available for that. There will be fine, for example, in other places of Ziyarah. If you go to Mashhad and if you go to Samarra, all those things, these are banned in Medina, right? But we'll still discuss about a few things which we know. And of course, some of the things, Umrah, the basic laws, rules, and also we'll answer some of the questions. Okay? So let's begin with that ayat of Quran, which I love. I remember when I used to go to Hajj, I used to always start my presentations and lectures with this ayat, because this ayat was revealed in the context of Hajj, but then it is applicable for all pilgrimages, not necessarily Hajj, all pilgrimages, whether it's Umrah or Ziyarat or Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى وَاتَّقُونِي يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Right? Allah says that whatever good you do, Allah knows it. Of course, we know about it, that Allah is all-knowing of what is happening. But here he says, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ, but he's specifying good. It doesn't mean that Allah doesn't know if somebody does something bad, or no, that's not the case. The idea is that you have taken the trouble and to travel all the way to a holy place for pilgrimage. Allah is aware of that. But at the same time, Allah says, make sure that you do preparations. Make the best provision. Try to take provision for your trip. And of all these provisions, whether it is meningitis shot, whether it is, for example, your travel arrangements, whether it is your snacks, whether it is visa and all those things, yes, these are required. But besides that, there is also the most important element, Quran says, and that is taqwa. Of all the provisions which we make, the best provision is that of piety, of God consciousness, to be always aware that Allah is aware of what He's doing. So Allah is not only aware of our good things, but also in case something wrong we do, we think wrongly, so that also Allah is aware of it. So keep in mind that you paid all the money to go to Medina or Mecca, and then on the way, for example, we do things or think things or which may not be appropriate, goes against taqwa, will not be right. Then again, if that was the point of Allah says, وَاتَّقُونِ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, and keep in mind that throughout your trip, just be wary of me, just possess my thought throughout. وَاتَّقُونِ, have my taqwa, have my piety, have godliness, consciousness about me throughout your trip, which is quite interesting. Allah could have just paused here by saying that the best provision is taqwa, but he says no, at every stage, right? Since I know what good you are doing, also where you are thinking, I'm aware of it, right? It's a powerful ayat. And Allah Tabatabai in his Tafsir Mizan says that this revealed during Hijjatul Wida, when Prophet went to Prophet, when Muslims went to the Prophet with the final pilgrimage. At that time, these verses were revealed. When Muslims went to Hajj with the Prophet during the final pilgrimage, at that time, these verses were revealed. It is a reminder that one's actions are not hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, every action we do, it calls one to piety and fear of Allah, so that this is important, so that one's acts of worship might not be devoid of the spirit of devotion. So just now we are in the month of Ramadan, right? There is the law of the law of fast requires that don't eat, don't drink, don't have spousal relations, for example, don't take smoke, right? All these are all just laws, right? But the spirit of the Lord is that no, besides not eating and drinking, make sure that you also we should rein our tongue against things which are haram, lying, backbiting, right? Or spreading facade, and problems. All these things, these are the spirit of the law. So we just don't be concerned about the letter of the law, but spirit of the law is also important. So he says, no, we should not be devoid of the spirit of devotion. So in this case, there's a devotion that we are going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Allah does not have a house, Allah does not have a body to say this house of Allah. But symbolically, that is the closest we can come in on this earth by going to that place, right? That Allah has himself said that this is the house of Allah. So that one's might not go through the external rites of worship with one's mind absent and one's heart forgetful. You see, we go through all the external rules, but the mind and heart is forgetful. We are something else now. Knowledge without practice has no value in Islam. That is why the exhortation of piety and fear of God was immediately followed by the words "and fear me of God." So this is, keep in mind, and this is what Allah says. He is a master mufassir of the Quran. Subhanallah, it's a good advice. And I always use this thing, and I've been doing it for many years, and it's just helped also me that now, before going, we read this ayat and think about that and pray to Allah to give us the ability. Of course, we need to prepare before depart. Some of the things are essential. Of course, many of us already have a will, because it is mustahab not to sleep without a will. But in case if you don't have, then at least get a will done before your trip. This is the best time. Also, is the best time to talk to people that, okay, I'm going on a spiritual trip. If I owe you anything, let me know. If if I've done something to you, please forgive me. Sometimes we are embarrassed to tell people, right? But this is the time, so okay, an excuse for us to just let them know that I interact with you, I work with you, I come across you all the time. You sometimes say something I might not have liked it, but maybe in case it was not meant properly, forgive me. I know this happens, for example, every time there is a mayyat here at JCC, then the relative stands up and says, have a heart to forgive the marhum if he has done anything wrong or say anything, which is a good practice, no doubt. But let us do the thing in our lifetime. Let's not wait until we die when our children or our relatives stand and talk about on our behalf. Right? And these are the opportunities. When you go for pilgrimage or Hajj or Ziyārah, these are opportunity or even excuse, right? To get this thing clear. So this is also important. And of course, sometimes people don't have time to read Islamic literature. But this is again another opportunity that now, since I'm going for Umrah, I'm going for Ziyārah, let me read as much as possible. You never know. So you can try to find some good material nowadays. Of course, internet is filled with that. YouTube is filled with lectures. So try to get those things and listen to them. Inshallah, that will help. No, those are some of the things you must do it now. Now, often a question people ask us that the du'as which are found in books are too long. We don't know Arabic, and what do we do? What should we read? What should we know? These are the things always they say. And also sometimes if you fly in Saudi Airlines, so they also have dua, but then is that dua what we read? So then we have collected these 5, short duas. These 5 short duas were collected for audience, and try to memorize them. These are not difficult, but these are also very good. I also put the meaning there. You'll see they're very pertinent and good and relevant to our needs. And these du'as, once you memorize it, you can use it not only for going to Hajj and Umrah. Even, for example, let's say I'm in Toronto, if you're traveling to Kitchener, if you're traveling to, say, Cambridge, or you're traveling on the east all the way to Kingston or Ottawa or Montreal, right? Just, or even, for example, I'll go to Mississauga, which is not even far, it's part of GTA, but still, you are traveling, there's nothing wrong, recite these du'as. So the best way, of course, to keep them remembering is reciting them often. So first, of course, is a ayat of Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله سبحان الذي سخر لنا هذا وما كنا له مقرنين وإنا إلى ربنا لمنقلبون. These are the verses of Quran, right? And it's a good, in fact, Quran is telling us that, glory be to him who has made this subservient to us. That means here, Hadha means you're right. So if you are going, for example, on a bike, if you are going on a motorbike, if you are going in a car, or you're going to bus, then that bus is following your instruction, that the way you want it, for example. And we would not have been able to do that. If Allah had not given us the ability, we could not do that. And of course, our return shall be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wherever you go, but our going, coming, our end return is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, this is the dua which my teachers have taught. I have not found in any kind of books. Our teachers have taught. And I found it quite interesting and useful. And since then, since I went to Hawza, I've been reciting this dua and also share with people who go for the trip. يا حافظا لا ينسى يا من نعمه لا تؤد ولا تحصى أنت الذي قلت وقولك الحق إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. The meaning is there, right? That of course Allah is the one who does not forget. Who favors cannot be counted, right? When it comes to Allah's favors, and you said in your book, and you're always truthful, that Allah is the one who has revealed the reminder, and He will most surely be His guardian. So the way Allah takes care of the Quran, it will not be changed or adulterated. In the same way, we are trying to say, Allah, that you are the best protector. The way you protected Quran, also protect me in my trip, right? And this, of course, the next ayat, sentence, dua, is there in the books now. Bismillahi wa billahi, ma sha'Allah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah azim. Now, it's quite pertinent in the name of Allah, and with Allah's grace, I rely upon Allah. Whatever Allah wills happens. There is no power and no strength except with Allah, right? So after taking all the precautions, if Allah has willed that something happens, then that is His will. But I have taken my precaution, and now I leave on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this one, if not exact line, but the gist of this is from Bibi Fatima's dua, right? Bibi Fatima, we are told in all the books I've read, that when she was 5 years old, her mother died, Janabi Khadija, right? Being a child, and after the mother was taken for burial, when Rasulullah came back, at that time, she asked, where is my mother? Now, this is what this book says. So at that time, it is said that Fatima said that, of course, she asked for the mother prophet and realized what she was going through as a daughter. Jibreel came and said, just tell Fatima that no, Khadija is with us and she's in peace now. So at that time, Fatima says, no, that Allah, oh Allah, you are the peace, and peace belongs to you, is for you, and peace originates from you, and get back to you. No? So everything about peace and salam is just surrounding you, Ya Allah. It's a beautiful dua, no? And it's easy to remember. Allahumma anta salam wa laka salam wa minka salam wa ilayka ya'udu salam. So keep this slide even later on, and you can just memorize it now. Okay, during the prayers also, as we are traveling from here to either you are going to Dubai or Istanbul, or for example, whichever point you are going, or directly flying to Jeddah or Medina, whatever it is, keep these three things: prayers, patience, and perseverance. Now, of course, patience and perseverance, it more applies if you go with a kafila. When you go for Hajj, if you're going in a caravan or Ziyārah, people have different kind of habits. So we need to, of course, have patience and perseverance. Otherwise, no. Let's try to all the time have prayers. Allah Himself says, "Wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salat, innaha lakabiratun illa 'ala al-khashi'in." Seek help through patience and prayer. Truly, it is hard, except for those who are humble ones. No. So we need to have that humility, because now you're going towards a holy place. So that humbleness should be there throughout this trip. No, it helps. No. In fact, we are told that no. Imams used to walk to Makkah, Medina and Makkah. If you go, inshallah, for Umrah, you will see how far it is. If you take a, for example, bus from Medina and go all the way to Makkah, it can take easily 4 hours, so 4 to 5 hours if you stop. So that was the distance. You can imagine Imams used to walk. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, we are told they'll walk, and not more. Not only once, for example, symbolically. Number of times. Each of these Imams, I think, went to Hajj for 20 to 25 times, both Imam Hassan and Hussein, and number of times they walk all the way to Makkah. Just that humbleness. I'm going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So imagine if this is what Imams used to do, what about us? No, we have just all the kind of comfort. We just fly and retreat there very peacefully. So at least during the trip, let us avoid watching film and just trying to kill our time by doing those things. No. Either do istighfar, tasbih, or just take a rest, because that rest will help you, will give you the strength that, inshallah, once you reach there, then you are fresh and you can just start your ibadat. So keep in mind that if Imams could walk all the way to Medina from Makkah during Hajj, that's really a great achievement. Really, it's not easy. Today, people walk from Najaf to Karbala. That is only 85 kilometers, right? And that's 85 kilometers we do over 3 days. 2 days, 2 nights, and 3 days, for example, trip people take normally. This is, I think, about 400 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken, or so. So Imams used to walk those days. Today, even when we walk, for example, to Karbala from Najaf, the roads are paved, right? If somebody's tired, then you get a ride. There is so many places to rest. There is so much food they give you. All those things are there. Those things do not exist at those times, right? So it's quite interesting. Humbleness is very important during our trip now and so. This is what Imam used to, I think it's the fourth, if I'm mistaken. He used to recite. It is important that he would recite these things. Says, Allahumma jal masiri ibran wa samti tafakkuran wa kalami zikran. Subhanallah. See, when you are traveling, there are three things. Either you are traveling, or you are silent, or you are talking, right? It says, if I travel, that be admonition, a kind of ibra, some kind of divine lesson. Or something, if I'm silent, then let me just reflect on divine creations and blessings and all those things which Allah has given. We do that, right? And then when I speak, then it is just the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So either we are quite thinking about Allah and His creation, or we are speaking the zikr. no gossiping, no time for do other things. There is a lot of time later on, but this is special. So this is what Imam used to say. You can imagine, see the dedication, subhanallah. No? It's really good. No? Allahumma jal masiri ibran wa samti tafakkuran wa kalami zikra. Again, my reason of choosing this particular line for our discussion is, again, it's a short line. It's a simple short line which you can memorize it and use it all the time, right? So it's good. It's a good reminder. Yeah. This is another point which my observation has showed me, that people somehow feel that since we are traveling, there are a lot of sort of obstacles to say namaz regarding taharat, wuzu, keeping wuzu, right, qibla, and all those things. So they say, okay, God knows that I am a very regular performer of my prayers at home. I do it regularly. God is aware of that. So once in a while, for example, because I'm traveling for a pilgrimage, if I miss it or if I delay it, God will forgive me, right? These are some of the things which we just assume. Yes, God is kind and merciful. God knows yours and mine situations, but it doesn't give us a license that we miss our prayers. Nor does it give a permission that we just delay our prayers. No, nowhere have we found. You will not find any hadith, you will not find any fatwa that said, okay, you are, in fact, Ayatollah Sistani says opposite. He says that no, it doesn't make sense that when you go for Umrah, in the process you perform, no, you do something which is haram. He says that doesn't make sense. No, it's rather that better you stay at home, because Umrah is sunnat, right? Ziyārah is sunnat, and doing something haram, missing prayers, is haram. So those who do not, these two don't go together. No. Keep in mind that that kind of mindset or belief that no, Allah is aware of it, Allah is kind, I'm a very good person, I always say my prayers on time. So once in a while, if I delay it, if I don't pray it, God will forgive me. No, that's not the case. The effort should always be there. And then there is a beautiful hadith from the 61, right? This is found in Tazim al-Ahkam Rasail. Tazim al-Ahkam is our book of hadith after Kafi. And later also Wasail. Wasail is a book of collection of 20 volumes of hadith, which Mujtahid use to give the fatwa when they sort of use the hadith and try to apply the ijtihad and give fatwa. So the source, one of the sources is this book, Wasail al-Shia. So it has also been chosen to be included in Wasail al-Shia. Imam says, Hajjatun afdalu min ad-dunya wa ma fiha. وَصَلَاتٌ فَرِيدَةٌ أَفْضَلُ مِنَ الْأَلْفِ حَجَّةٍ. Hajj is better in its value than what is, it's better than the world and what is in it. It's better than the world and whatever is in it, right? وَصَلَاتٌ, on the other hand, wajib prayer is better than 1,000 mustahab Hajj. You can imagine, sunnata, 1,000. Of course, the 1,000 could be a symbolic number, but he says that who has performed 1,000? Nobody has performed 1,000 Hajj, right? But in the sense that you can imagine, if you take the trouble to go to Hajj, how much efforts are put and how much reward you get of all those efforts, multiply that by 1,000, even then it will not take the place of that wajib salat. So, Mu'mineen, this is something which is very, very important. Let us not, just overlook this thing, and just let's not assume ourselves that Allah will forgive me, Allah knows about it, I'll look at it later on. No, there's nothing like that. Let's do it now. Some youngsters went to, my internet shows some unstable. Okay. Some youngsters went to Ayatollah Sistani in 2016 to seek advice. And this is found on this, they were walking from Najaf to Karbala, so they came to seek advice. one of the things which he gave advice was this, about not missing on prayer. So you can look at this slide, this link which is there on the slide, and try to read what Allah said. Now again, the question comes, do we need to say prayers on board, or we can delay until we reach our destination? This is also a question comes, that okay, I don't want to miss, but I just want to make sure that I say my prayers when I'm at peace. When I've got a place to do wuzu, I've got a place to keep my musalla, find the direction about wudu or qibla, and then say, so because of that, I'll just like to delay. Is that okay or not? So of course, the answer is, if you are scheduled to arrive at your destination early enough to go through the security, perform your wudu, try to determine the qibla, and find a suitable place to say your prayers, then you're allowed to do that. Then you can wait until you reach your destination. Provided they do not get qaza. Otherwise, you need to say. So sometimes, for example, let's say that you're going to Dubai, right? And you will reach there, say, as an example, say 5 a.m., right? And namaz getting qaza at 6 a.m., for instance, Fajr prayer. So say, okay, I've got 1 hour, I can say prayers. But no, that 1 hour is not enough. By the time you get out of the plane is going to taxi, right? You come out, you go through all the securities, checking, and sometimes immigration, and no. And then now you have to go and find the place for prayers. It may take more than hours. So you're taking, chances. No, you have enough time that you know that now I reached there, and then I'll get through all those requirements, and then find a place to pray. Then it's okay. Otherwise, just say your prayers on board. And once you say your prayers on board with what we are going to discuss, with all those requirements, that's enough. You don't even need to repeat. Although you said on board, you don't need to repeat, as long as you've taken care of the basic requirements, which we'll inshallah discuss. So here are some of the points, right? Qasr salat on board, except if you are, So if you are Qasir safar, then only you will say full namaz. Otherwise, most of the time, the moment we are on board, and one, for example, the sign that you now can remove your belt, right? We put on our belt, and then the plane flies off. So once, for example, the sign comes that now it's okay for you to remove the belts, the seat belts, by that time we're already out of our city. Most of the time you're out of it, wherever you're flying from, whether it's Toronto or London or New York, wherever it is, right? So then you are Musafir already. So now if the time of namaz kicks in, just say Qasr namaz. But if somebody is a frequent traveler, that person who travels so often then he, of course, he or she would say full namaz. When traveling, it is advisable to maintain the tahara of your body in close till at least prayer time. So this is also important. Now you know that I'm supposed to say my prayers on board. By the time I reach my destination, namaz will get qaza. So I should try to put efforts to maintain my body and my clothes park, because once they become najis, then you still have to pray, but then that will be a problem, right? That you're supposed to maintain. So try to maintain your taharat of clothes and of your body. Okay. Now, of course, about wudu, you don't have to maintain your wudu. Some people, for example, cannot keep their wudu for long, as they age or the other kind of complication. So that is fine. You can just renew your wudu. But the moment you fly off and the namaz time is going to soon kick in, let's say that your flight here is 1:20 p.m., right? And namaz time today is 1:30 p.m., right? So soon namaz time will kick in by the time you know. So if it's possible, see if you can do wudu, then get onto the plane. And if you can maintain your wudu until your prayers are said, then it's fine. But again, this is not must if it's possible. So that will just save you from the hassle of finding the place to do wudu again. But otherwise, yes, you can just renew wudu and say the prayers. Ensure that the prayer time has begun before you say prayers. Now, this is important, that make sure the prayer time is entered. So there is an app, Halal Trip. is a good app. I've used it a number of times. So download this app, Halal Trip, on your phone. It's available both on iPhone and also Android. And then put in your details, at what time you are leaving, which airport you are going, which airport is your destination. If you put those things, and then automatically just say that I would like in-flight information about Qibla and information about timings. It will give you. Once it gives you, save that on your phone. The advantage of saving is that then once, for example, you don't have Wi-Fi, so that's still saved on your phone. You don't need Wi-Fi to. But if you don't save it, then you are going to miss it. Provided once you saw the timing and the Qibla, and then if you remember, for example, then it's a different thing. But most of the time, just save it. And the benefits of saving is what? SubhanAllah, if you open my phone, it has all the past trips I've gone to. So also, for example, one fine day you want to say, when did I go to Makkah last time? When did I go to Madinah? When did I fly to Najaf last time, right? You've forgotten, for example. Just open your phone, Halal Trip, it will tell you that when did you fly to Najaf last time, because you saved that thing. So it also saves with you on your app, at your account for long, right? So that will give you the timing. So once that timing is given, keep in mind that you can start preparation then. You don't have to say namaz there. So that is it, that, for example, when they give Maghrib time, we give some extra time, because their Maghrib and our Maghrib is different. Plus, if your flight was delayed, because initially you put the timing based on when your flight is going to depart. But if the departure was delayed, it's very, very important. Whenever you fly and you are going to say namaz on board, it is very important that you note how many minutes the flight is delayed. It was supposed to depart at a certain time, at what time it departed. So that time you have to edit, to come to namaz time, because it will not automatically get adjusted on your phone, because you punched in the timing of departure and arrival. Based on that, it calculated the namaz time. And then, of course, you went offline, so it is already there. So it will not automatically update the new time if your flight is delayed. But then you have to manually, for example, add those minutes. You have to keep that in mind. When it comes to Maghrib, give extra time, because they set Maghrib at sunset. We say about 15 minutes after that. Yes, remove your shoes. Although you are not sitting on a musalla or still remove your shoes before begin the prayers. Face completely towards Qibla direction when saying Takbirat Ihram. Now this is, keep in mind, I'm assuming that, for example, in your particular flight, there is no place this time for prayers. For example, if you are flying by Saudi Airlines or Iran Airlines, I don't know if what Qatar Airlines, I don't know if it's Etihad or other also give, but I know Saudi Airlines and Iran Airlines, these two airlines have a place somewhere where people go and pray. It's a small place, so they go in turn. So if you're not using that, or if you're not on an exit row whereby there is enough space for you to say your prayers, so then you can say your prayers while sitting on your seat. But one thing is important, that when you start the prayer, you will stand up. You'll stand up, try to find, based on the halal trip where the Qibla is, stand towards Qibla, say Allahu Akbar, then sit down and continue the namaz. So that is important. Okay, you can do it. And of course, if you are in an exit row, then you can say the entire namaz. You just tell somebody who is next to you that please excuse me for 5 minutes, I'm saying my prayers. He or she would not mind. Yeah, once you are facing Qibla, and if the plane slightly, for example, turns during that time, okay, that should not bother you. At least you did face Qibla at the beginning. And then, for example, once you finish one prayer, say Zuhr or Maghrib, and now you're going to start Asr or Isha, and you feel that there was some kind of turn. I think the plane might have turned slightly. Then again, you try to find the Qibla based on the app, and you can turn towards Qibla and say Takbirat Ihram. But then once you are sitting, you don't have to worry that it's not with Qibla. Yes, Ifat, go ahead.
So I have a question. I just want to make sure that I understand. So when you're on the plane, the first the things the way you know which way the Qibla is to I didn't know about this halaltrip.com, is to use this app, and then on the screens on the map it tells you which way, in the Muslim airlines at least, it tells you which way is Qibla. So those are my the two ways to determine which direction I need to pray.
Yes, yes, you can use that also. Yeah, the maps which are available on TVs, in Muslim airlines, yeah, or you can use the app, whatever it is. In most cases, if you are flying from North America, we are facing towards Qibla because we fly over, right? Atlantic, so we are facing Qibla. But yeah, you can use any of those methods. What the maps which are appearing on the TV, which says, this is the what direction to Qibla, and this is how far Makkah is, or you can use the app. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is just for Takbiratul Ihram. Keep in mind, once you are sitting and do the entire prayers, that's fine if it was not towards Qibla, because this is in case you cannot go to that space or specified for the prayer. No? Okay. So this is important. And then when it comes to doing wudu, maybe we will come to it. No? If possible, observe all the qiyam, ruku, sajda, and kunu position required as in salat. So as we said, that where possible, say normal prayers, standing, ruku, sajda, if you're an exit row, or if there's a specific place there. Or for example, let's say that in the plane, the crew is cooperative and allows you to use the back place where they serve, for example, the food, right? When they prepare, there's a place there. If they allow you to use that place, then just fine. You can even say prayers there. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't say prayers in the eye at all. That's not right. You are blocking people's movement. It's not legal also, and it's not right. No, so that should not be done. That is important. Some people, I personally am not of this in favor of. Some people say, I've also heard some scholars saying that, but I'm not in favor of that some of the washrooms are big, so there is enough room, for example, to say the prayers there. I'm not in favor of that. Now, I've not seen such big washrooms whereby you can do that. Plus, taharat and najasat, and so a lot of water is there. So I don't think that is a good idea. But, some people have said this. I'm just mentioning this thing because you might hear from people. I don't think it's the best idea. I would never done that, and I would not go for that personally. So since we are allowed that you can just sit and say prayers, just do that. Use your own seat, okay, or go to those places which is at this time for prayer. Okay. Now, if you decide to say your prayers while sitting on your seat, that's the seat which is assigned for you during flight, then you have to decide and decide to say what is it. So for example, just now I'm sitting on my seat, right here. Just now I'm sitting on my seat. So I'm sitting straight. My back is just against the seat. So this is my straight sitting. I will determine this is my qiyam. The slight bowing down, this is my ruku. An additional bowing is sajda. For example, this is straight, and just loose sitting, for example, just this is my qu'ud, because there are 4 states in namaz: qiyam, standing, qu'ud, sitting, ruku, bowing, and sajda, prostrating, right? So you yourself decide. Islam doesn't say what is ruku, what is sajda, what is qu'ud, what is qiyam while sitting. No, it doesn't. You decide yourself that for me, sitting straight, against the back, is qiyam. For example, slight bending is ruku. Slight more bending is, for example, sitting, qu'ud, right? And this is sajda. Then this is, once you do this thing, and then accordingly recite the zikr, following those postures which you decided. Okay. And for sajda, you can also, for example, take that plate, the thing you put your food, right? If you open that, and then of course you take your more, and then, for example, no, just do like this. Even that is fine. That is also allowed. You can do that for sajda, but it's not a requirement, but you can do that. No, so all those things are okay when you say your prayers. So once you've done this, what you have followed these requirements for prayers, that prayer is enough. You don't need to, in fact, at all. You don't need to then repeat your prayers. That's enough. There is a phrase which Mujtahid Ayatollah Sistani also was there in his book, or Ayatollah Queen Marum also used to say that when we rise for our after one rakat, the second rakat, we say bihawlillahi wa quwwatihi aqumu wa aqud wa arka'u asjud. So this phrase, talks all the four states. With the strength and power of Allah, I stand, I sit, I do ruku, and I do sajda. So you can see that namaz has four states. Okay, so you decided how you are going to represent each of these state in gesture, and then you decide zikr that. But keep in mind that for one namaz you have to do. For example, for first namaz you decided this is my gesture, you do it. For second, after that, you realize that it was not easy to follow those gestures, that kind of positions, then you can change the second namaz. That's fine. But within the namaz, don't change it. Before namaz, we just do the niyyah that, okay, this is my qiyam, this is my qu'ud that I'm sitting, this is my ruku, and this is my sajda, then I'll follow that. But then you say, okay, my sajda was that I'm going to bow down all the way and keep my head on the tray, and then it was very difficult. So maybe next time you don't have to do that, no, because you didn't test. It's good, of course, when before starting, you just test that if this is possible or not, no. So this is as far as the prayer is concerned. Yes, and scholars differ on whether the one should say prayer in the aisles, washroom, and serving corners session. There is a difference, no. Just check with a local scholar. I would also check with one Arizdu here. And it says just sit, saying your prayers and sitting on while sitting is fine. No, but of course, if your exit row or these stand places in different airlines is a different thing. It is essential that the Muslim does not face unnecessary harassment or profiling by airline crew or security officials. Yeah, because sometimes if we overdo things, right, then they start, for example, harassing us or profile us, and we don't want to go through this kind of embarrassment. Islam doesn't Islam yusra wala usra. No, there's a beautiful, I don't know, hadith or saying of scholars, but they say Islam is easy to follow. It's not difficult. It's we are ourselves making sometimes difficult. No? So don't overdo things by saying, oh, I'm going to, it's going to take me only 2 minutes. If I block the aisle for 2 minutes, what's the big deal? No, that's a big deal. Maybe at that time there is a emergency, and plus it's not allowed. It's just not legal. Period. So just don't do that. No, it's not question that you are told, or even washrooms are not the place to say prayers. Right? It's a place to just go and use the washroom and clean yourself. So these are not the places we stand for that. So let's not overdo things. No, let's also maintain our own respect and our dignity, even whilst traveling. No? So these are some of the things keep in mind as we travel. Also, I said that the way, for example, I advise people not to miss namaz al-shab in Ramadan, should not also miss namaz al-shab in during trips, to Umrah and Ziyārah and Hajj. These are the times we have got a lot of time, and we are going for spiritual trips. And Salatul Tahajjud or Salat al-Shab, namaz al-shab, is a very good way of connecting spiritually to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't miss out on this. So we have an app also, and you can also get our books there, but make sure that we don't miss on those. So here are a few aspects of that, but I'll quickly just pause here. If you have any questions, because I want to come to the wajibat of Umrah, because that I don't want to miss out. So if any questions here, I'll pause here. Yeah. Okay, so intention should be pure. it's very important that class sincerity is there. That should be, or Hajj should be, Umrah should be 100% for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu. That's what we say, qurbatan ilallah. Qurbatan ilallah, that means seeking Allah's nearness, in the sense that not only nearness, that means His pleasure. No? So that is important. No? And for if you go to Ziyārat, for reviewing the Ahlul Bayt, right? So this is important. So when you go for Ziyārat, when you go to Madinah, before Umrah in Makkah, so then you are going to go and renew your pledge. If Imam was today living in Medina, we would go and shake our hands and say, Imam, I am your Shia, and renew my pledge, right? So that's what we are doing. Although Imam now has died, he's only buried there, but he say, here I am. I've just come to recite the Ziyarat, talk about your achievement and your greatness, but I'll come to renew my pledge. So that keep in mind that this is what we are doing there. And this should not at all be secondary. This should be primary reason. Yes, secondary is that I'm going to meet a friend there. My family also is going to go there, so we are going to have a family get together. That is fine. There's nothing wrong in it to use this opportunity to meet the friends and get the family get together in Makkah or Medina or Najaf. That is fine, but don't overlook your main intention of praying for the sake of Allah, right? This is you can see Imam has hadith very clearly about sincere that he might try to see which of you is fairest in works. It does not. This is ayat of Quran. Where say, Allah says what? الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So أيكم أحسن عملا, it does not mean one of you whose deeds are more numerous, Imam said, but one who is more rightful in his conduct. And this rightfulness is nothing but the fear of God and sincerity of intention and fear. So keep in mind that the best amal, khayrukum amala, right? Ayyukum ahsan. Ahsan amal is niyat and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is important. So let's try to keep that sincerity throughout our prayer. Also about niyat, this is there, right? All this, you can check this, inshallah, slides will be posted on the same course. You can go and check the slides out there. This is regarding Medina, right? Since inshallah, many of us will go to Medina if you go for Umrah, either before or after. And the Prophet says that no one who visits me on the day of judgment, I will visit one who performed my ziyarah, or the ziyarah of anyone from my progeny. So you can imagine when you go there, talk to Rasulullah, because just say, Ya Rasulullah, that I'll come to you to say greet to you, pledge my allegiance to you. I visited you, and I hope that you will visit my grave and visit me on. And till I save him from the terror of the day. It will be my duty to save from their sins also. On the day of judgment, I will intercede for those who have come to my ziyarah. On the day of judgment, I will turn away from those who had come to Makkah for Hajj but did not come to Medina for my ziyarah. You can imagine, although it's not wajib, but he says that he will be upset that you came all the way to Makkah, but you turned away. You did not never come to Medina. Those who die in the one of the two harams, Makkah or Medina, it will be reserved with the companions of Badr on the day of judgment. So these are some of the hadiths. In fact, a lot can be said. But as I said earlier, because there is restrictions of the ziyarat in Medina, we don't find a lot of literature. If you go, for example, to Mashhad, you find so much literature about the benefits of going to ziyarat to Mashhad, Mazalis, right? But nothing can be compared like the ziyarat of Rasulullah. Okay, keep in mind, Ziyārat Rasulullah has really great thawab. But unfortunately, because of all these restrictions, we do not find, right, all this literature or being promoted this thing, right? The 50 months Ziyārat of Prophet is like performing purified Hajj with Rasulullah, subhanAllah. So when you go and do the Ziyārat of Rasulullah in Medina is like performing purified Hajj with the Prophet. Again, what is to be done in Medina, all these things are there. You'll check on the website now, and this, inshallah, slides will also be posted there. Now,
where will the slides be posted? on the website?
Yeah, academyofislam.com and then ALI-697. Or if you just go to Academy of Islam under courses, if you just under courses, you'll find. Okay, so after every webinar, which we recorded, both the slides and the recording are posted. So inshallah, you get it. And if you don't get it, just email me. Inshallah, I will send you the link. Okay, this is, for example, the fourth Imam, when in the presence of Imam Zain al-Abidin, when he happened to in Madinah, at the grave of Prophet, see what he says. Allahumma inni asbahtu la amliku nafsi khayra ma arju laha. Wa la atru anna sharra ma hazaru alayha. Right? Oh Allah, I find that I do not have the power in myself to attain the good I hope for, nor do I have the power to avoid the haram that I fear, right? No. Wasbat al-umuru biyadika. So even, subhanallah, this is Imam Sajjad at the grave of Rasulullah. But see what he's praying. He's praying to Allah. He says, Ya Allah, I find that I do not have the power in myself to attain the good which I hope for, nor do I have the power to avoid the harm which I fear. And I find that all affairs are in your hand, not in Allah's hand. Do you see this thing? He is at the Rasulullah is his great-grandfather. He could have just changed this dua for but even at that time, he does not forget. So keep in mind, yes, we have gone there, we are praying to Allah, but pray to Allah for the sake of the Prophet. Keep that in mind. So this he says, Inni lima anzalta alayka. And then of course he says that all affairs of Allah are in your hand. And then he quotes this ayat of Quran that I'm in need of the good that you have given me, right? So since I have decided to go for my Umrah and there are certain things which Allah has now decided to give me, so now I'm in need of that. But Allah, I need it from you. But I'm doing this thing, I'm praying at a holy place because your most holiest and your friend, your Habib has been buried here. But see, the focus is still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep this in mind. And these are there in the books. These are you can find. So this is what Imam used to pray, right? And so let's not sometimes forget the focus and keep in mind. So these are other du'as continue, which I will not discuss. The flag there. Now let us just go to what one thing I did not mention earlier. Maybe the slide was missing there. But yeah, when we talked about the prayers, okay, keep in mind that wuzu is required, right? So if your wuzu was maintained from beginning, fine. Otherwise, you can just use the washroom to perform wuzu. And in case if you find that there is not enough people are waiting there in line, let's say, for example, Fajr in the morning, when you wake up and now there's a long line, people are using washrooms, and your namaz may get qaza soon. Then we have, for example, video performing wuzu with a spray bottle. Just go to YouTube and try to Google performing wuzu with a spray bottle. So you can use a spray bottle and perform wuzu while sitting on the seat, on your seat on the plane. So keep that in mind. About spirituality, these are beautiful du'as, and for example, the dialogue between Imam Sajjad and Shibli, all these things are there. At the end, we have what to put as a references. Okay. But now let's come to, this is important point, okay? This is the most common question asked. Can we say prayers behind non-Shia imams in Mecca and Medina? This question is always comes and people don't know what to do. Especially even when they pray, they get confused because what happens that they say Surah Al-Fatiha, after that they recite passages of the Quran. So sometimes if the Imam is in mood, he can go on and on. It will be quite long. So even, for example, what do we do, right? Even in ruku sometimes, the zikr is longer. In sajda, the zikr is longer. No? In, for example, tashahud, the zikr is longer. So what do we do, right? So this is something which always comes. So number one, we can say the prayers with them, with their time, Fajr prayers, okay, Zohar prayers, Asr prayers, Isha prayers, except for Maghrib. Maghrib, they say at sunset, which is earlier for us. So in my experience when I used to go to about Hajj regularly, I've not been there since COVID. I just went before COVID, 2019. Since 2019, this is now already 6th year, right? I've not been to Hajj. So I don't know how things are changed. But my experience showed that in Medina, by the time when the Imam starts the Takbir Ihram, Allahu Akbar, it is already 13, 14 minutes. So that is safe. You can say namaz with the Maghrib. But in case if you see by the time namaz starts, from the time Azan starts in namaz starts, if it is less than 12 minutes, less than 14 minutes, then they are saying namaz earlier. So you can still say namaz with their Maghrib, but then you repeat because of the time. But besides Maghrib prayers, which about, as I said, begins 12 minutes or 15 minutes, if this is the case in Medina, this was, as I said, this our experience indicated in Medina, there have been occasions when the actual prayer begins at about 12 minutes after the Azan time at sunset. This is my observation when I was there during Hajj before COVID. Things, I don't know now. Now, inshallah, I'll go for Umrah. I'll make a point to check this thing, that how things have changed or not. But you keep yourself, make sure that at what time the namaz starts and what time Azan starts, what time namaz starts. Besides that, you can say namaz with them, number one. Number two, what would you do? Would you say the niyat of Jamaat? The answer is no. Ayatollah Sistani does not allow that you can say niyat of Jamaat. You cannot do that. So what you will do, you will say namaz furada, but at the same time not complete furada. Because furada, that means to say namaz on your own, at your own speed. You are going to follow the imam, their imam, in action. In other words, you won't go to ruku before him. You won't go to sajda before him. You're not going to rise from ruku or sajda before him. You're not going to stand before him. Okay? So you're going to follow imam in action. So the Arabic word here is ittiba, follow in actions, right? Not in dhikr. So that will be the thing we will do. We'll try. And because we cannot go to ruku before him, we cannot rise from ruku before him, we cannot rise from sajda before him. So what they do when they're long? So first of all, after Allahu Akbar, there's a certain silence. Then there's Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, right? So you will see a confusion. What should I do? Because we cannot remain silent and inactive for long. We are not allowed. It is known as tumaina. That we are supposed to have one action after other, right? Tartib and tumaina are part of namaz, that we have one after the action being done and in order. So what we say is that what I would suggest is when he says Allah Akbar, you don't say Allah Akbar. Okay? When he says Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, at that time just say Allah Akbar, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and try to join. In any case, they recite it with slowly and with tartib, so you can easily join them. Okay? So that's you can do with Surah Al-Fatiha. Then comes the surah after that. Now the Imam sometimes says a long passage of surah, of Quran, right? So what you do is that you will say your surah, whatever you want to do, say, for example, Surah Al-Qadr, or Surah Kawthar, or Ikhlas, or Inna, any other surah, for example, you want to recite, you can do that. Finish reciting that. Once he's reciting this person. After you have finished reciting yours, he's still continuing reciting. At that particular time, you would do any zikr. So you can just recite with him what he's reciting, follow with him, because he's reciting passive Quran, that's fine. Or any zikr you can do. You can just do that or just follow with him reciting. That will be your standing qira'ah. Go to ruku. Just say, again, if you find that he takes longer, right? So what you do, you're allowed to repeat the zikr of ruku 7 times. Subhana Rabbiyal Azim wa bihamdih. Subhana Rabbiyal Azim wa bihamdih. Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. You just go on slowly reciting. Say you finish saying 3 times or 4 times. And he says, Allahu Akbar. That's fine. At least you've done the first, which was wajib, the other the mustahab. Okay? So that will be. Now I know that because you were doing 3, 4 times, you missed to saying Allahumma. That's fine. Allahumma is said in ruku was not wajib. What is wajib is Subhan Rabbil Hamdi or Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So at least you can start reciting. Then over time, as you do his first namaz, second namaz there, you get an idea that how long he stays in ruku, how long he stays in sajda. So you would know, for example, if I say 3 times, that is enough here. 5 times enough. So after 5 times, you can say salawat and then you rise with it. So this is how you do ruku and sajda. That you recite your zikr, but slowly and repeat it, you are allowed up to 7 times. Okay. And still, for example, if you decided to recite so quickly, usually it never goes beyond 7. I've recited the namaz behind the imams for so many times because alhamdulillah, I've been to Hajj so many times. If I recite my zikr of ruku and sajda slowly, subhan rabbil a'la wa bihamdi, subhan rabbil azim, slowly, for example, I will never reach 7 times. Until that I'm still ruku. It does not happen. So it won't happen. But let's say that you decided to recite it very quickly and fast. So you can still continue doing the zikr, subhanallah, subhanallah, that's fine. So this is ruku and sajda. Sami Allah al-Hamida, they say, then they and say, Rabbana walakal hamd, and also they recite some dua, and then go. So you can just say, Subhanallah, Sami Allah al-Hamida, and then of course, you can still do any kind of zikr. Subhanallah, subhanallah. Just continue with zikr and go with them in ruku and sajda. Now, tashahhud also. They take tashahhud in Islam quite long. So you say your tashahhud, okay, gradually, and say salam, and finish it, your prayer. So you have finished, you have completed your prayers before him. That's fine, because we are not saying namaz jamaat. In namaz jamaat, we are not allowed to complete our prayers before the imam. If we do that, then our namaz jamaat is, don't get the sawab of namaz jamaat, right? Here, we are not doing jamaat. We are doing just ittiba. So we have just followed the imam in action. So the last action was sajda, and then you got out of the sajda, and then the last after that is sitting. That is the last action. So already he started his tashahhud and salam. You said your tashahhud and salam, and you finished your salam before that. He is still not finished. Don't worry, you are finished, but just be there. Make sure that you don't do it so obviously that somebody sitting next to you realize that no, you already finished namaz. And then of course, once you finish your salam, just slowly, just as we do astaghfirullah wa atubu, you can do that slowly recite until they finish their namaz, and that is fine. So keep this in mind that if you follow this particular rules which we discussed, then that's fine. They can separate, and that namaz is enough. You don't need to repeat the namaz again, as long as you know these rules. Okay, you don't need to. Except for Maghrib, I say that in case the imam started early and you started with him, and then at that time the niyat would be you will just do your mafi zimma, that in case any Maghrib was left, you are just doing mafi zimma with him, and then you will repeat your namaz again. Okay, so keep this particular thing in mind, because this is something which comes again and again all the time. Any questions in this particular question? Because this is, everybody asks this thing. They get confused once they go there. Okay, good. I'm glad that there is no question, so I hope that I'll put it on. Okay, now the last final, about few minutes, here is there are 7 wajibat in Mufrada. 7, keep in mind. One is ihram, okay. Then, of course, tawaf. Then there is namaz of tawaf. Then there is sa'i. Then there is taksir. Once you do these 5, you're allowed to go back to your hotel, remove your ihram, and come for tawaf for nisa and namaz for the next day. That's fine. The only thing a person who has not done tawaf for nisa is not allowed is that there cannot be a part or relation with the spouse until the tawaf for nisa is done. Okay, but otherwise, if you are tired, everything, you can go back to your hotel, right? If you're done early in the morning, then in the afternoon, evening, again, you can come. Except that after COVID, there are restrictions for men folk. But here, there is no problem. For men folk, they don't allow to do tawaf if you're not wearing the ihram cloth. So they won't allow you to go there in that area of tawaf. Okay. So the men folk has to just wear tawaf just so that you can go and do tawaf nisa. But you don't need to go through all the requirement for wearing tawaf. You'll just wear it so that you are permitted to go there. Okay. So when it comes to ihram, there are 3 things. Is that we wear the ihram, we say we do the niyat, and we say talbiyah. Okay, labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Inna alhamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk, la sharika laka labbaik. So ihram has these 3 parts. Now you can wear ihram back in your hotel in Medina, and then come to miqat, in Masjid al-Shajara, come there, and at that time you will do the niyat, okay, and then no, first of all, you will just do the niyat and adjust your clothes as if you are wearing ihram, right, and recite al-biyah. So you can do that, no. You can do the ghusl before that is mustahab. You can do the ghusl in the hotel in Madinah, then come to Miqat and just, of course, you can also take your clothes, for example, bag to the Miqat. There are facilities to take a shower there and change, but sometimes maybe there is no time. The taxi driver will not wait. If you are going to take a train, then you want to go back and everything. So you can do those things there anyway. So these are wajibats, keep in mind. The most important thing that Tawaful Nisa, usually Umrah Mufrada, Umrah Tamattu has 5 wajibat. Umrah Mufrada has 7. There is Tawaful Nisa and Namaz Tawaful Nisa. So Tawaful Nisa and Namaz Tawaful Nisa can be done later on. It can be to be done later in the day or on the phone. It should not be, it should within 12 hours, keep in mind. You should do within 12 hours, you should do that. Okay, Tawaful Nisa. Inshallah, if anybody has any other questions, then we had many people registered, but maybe they thought that they'll come on Sunday and not on Saturday. In any case, tomorrow this thing will just be repeated. We'll be making sure that it will be just played, those who attend. Inshallah. Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, if you happen to go there in Ramadan, please keep us in your prayers. We also are planning to go, but after Ramadan, inshallah. So just keep us in your prayers that we are able to go there, and reach there safely and come back safe. Any clarification, any questions?
Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead. Any questions?
No, I was just saying
No.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Asa. Inshallah.